All right, welcome back to Helos and Homies. I'm here with two dear friends, owners of the 2-7 Project, Bombr and Nickeh. How are we today, boys?
Good, brother.
Just two of the four owners. There's actually
Yeah,
four owners, but
Four of
we're
us.
half the clan, bro.
Half the clan. First things first, I'd like to say grateful for the opportunity. For all those listening, I come down to the 2-7 Project overnight to do what I can. I don't know much, if anything at all, but I'm here and I try my best. But yeah, grateful. This time last year, your podcast came out.
My
Yeah.
Helos episode.
Yeah, like yesterday, it came up in my Instagram memories, and then yours was 13 months ago, essentially.
Yeah, right. Right.
Full circle moment.
Yeah,
I was like
hectic.
saying I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Congratulations on getting picked first, bro.
Oh, bro, I was the first
You
ever,
got the call up
actually.
before
I
me,
still
yeah. That's
technically
fine.
have the most views. I think I check it once. every few
No,
months.
Jordan Sinney smacked it.
Oh, that doesn't count, bro. He was already famous, right? I'm not that famous, so.
I think, no, yours did all right. Yours did all right as well.
I don't know. I haven't checked it. I watched it when it came out.
Bro, he's that
but
busy. He doesn't even check
Yeah.
his
Bomber
phone.
actually watches mine. He comments on them.
Yeah.
I watch your snippets, if that makes a difference. I'm sorry, brother. I do find it hard to find time to watch podcasts now that I'm not driving to the city.
Because he used to
every
put
day.
them on.
I used to listen every single day when I was driving to the city, but
And then he'd be messaging me, bro, watch this one.
I can't multitask where if I'm editing, I can't put a podcast on. If I'm grading photos or something, I can do it. But if I'm actually editing, yeah, I don't know how people do it.
I do it all the time.
I don't
have to.
retain the information. Do you retain the information there?
Fair bit. I only listen to one guy, though.
Adobe. Is he?
Small steps.
Yeah.
Small steps.
Look, for context for everyone listening, Nickeh tries to teach me about Adobe, and Bomber sits there.
Adobe.
Adobe.
That's where we go wrong.
And I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I haven't for a year, still haven't figured it out. But
Sorry, we'll get there. We'll get there. You're doing well.
Yeah, we'll get there. Now, this is a warm-up for the boys' podcast of their own. Now, one's called Area Chats.
Chris and Oz
That's Chris and Oz, yeah.
from FTA.
And what's around Area Chats? Like, explain the backstory around that for the boys.
So speaking on behalf of the boys, Area Chats is kind of, it's more kind of like athlete-based podcast, talking sport. Obviously, athletes from the area, but also outside the area in terms of, I think the whole thing with Area Chats and Overtime and 2-7 Project, we are all from Western Sydney, but not all of our content is going to be about people from Western Sydney because it's kind of got on that idea that we're from Western Sydney and we've linked with these people to show that you can still link with people from other areas. Like some of the guests we have coming up are from other countries. But the whole idea is like with Area Chats, it's like breaking down, I guess, athletes and
The
and
mindset.
their mindset and, you know, their tactics and whatnot and going a bit deeper into it. And the boys are really good. They're naturals. They're like so nervous to be on podcasts, Chris and Oz, but
they got the best energy, man.
they have amazing energy and they're just super talented and they're going to kill it.
Yeah, for those who don't know what Chris and Oz do, Chris and Oz are FTA, and then Oz also has tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris is part of this project as well, 2-7 Project with TWO7PROJECT, who needs no introduction. Then we have your podcast as well, which is called Overtime. Talk to us about Overtime.
Bomber.
Reason why we called it Overtime, because when we first actually linked up, all we'd done was work ridiculous hours. Like he still does it now. I try to match
Nothing's
it,
changed, brother.
brother.
We still
I try to
work.
match it, but you know, my missus will
Yeah,
give me a
I see
hiding
it
if I'm not
first
home
thing.
by 12 p.m.
12 p.m. or
Sorry,
12
a.m. Sorry, what time was it?
Bro, you get a
Okay.
hiding if you're not home.
Yeah,
by
like 5
p.m.
o'clock. Anyway, but yeah, when we first started, bro, we were doing like 3 a.m., finishing at 3 a.m. in the morning and stuff like that. Or what we moved in together and we were just working some serious hours just to get ahead, you know?
Yeah.
So we just wanted
Because
to.
we were both working full time.
Bro, at the same
He was
yeah,
running a football
soccer
academy.
academy.
I was working at the production company. And, but you know what? It didn't feel like we were doing overtime. Our
fun.
normal jobs felt like jobs. Then we'd grind all night. And it was just like
Enjoyed it, didn't we?
the foundations that allowed us to build this.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I guess the whole podcast is revolved around
Humble beginnings. There's a bit of homage in it in the name.
that, but it's also like you know, creativity in business and like thinking outside the box. Like, yes, we're gonna have your musicians and your creatives, your photographers, your filmmakers, your designers, but then having people outside the box. Like it might be, you know, a coach, for example, how that particular coach gets creative with their plays and creative with their coaching, and how all different, you know, walks of life get creative with what they do.
Yeah.
Because it's not, creativity is endless. It's not just pure art forms. It can be adapted to anything.
Yeah, beautiful.
With those creative minds, your minds don't stop. Hence, over time, your mind,
Beautifully
This
said.
guy's coming up with things we
Brother.
haven't discussed
Hey,
yet. I
the
like
brain
that.
does not stop. True.
True. My brain hasn't stopped
You
since 2006.
Yeah.
Been a minute. Mentioned it earlier. You've both lived past lives of different walks of life. You're a boy from Windsor. Picked up the camera at
North Richmond.
North Richmond. Same shit, man. Don't.
Brother, you're vibrating the camera.
You're a boy from Windsor, North Richmond.
North Richmond.
Picked up a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Did your own thing in action sports. Monster Skate Park resident, and then you went to work for who?
After this action sports stuff?
Yeah,
Russell Crowe.
And then you went out by yourself a year or two ago. Hey,
Nah, not even. 9 months ago.
9 months ago.
Yeah.
How's the whole transition from? So you started action sports, and you mentioned it on the podcast last time. Then you started to go towards like different clientele, but keep the action sports involved. I think you mentioned Bose was like one of them. And then you went to work for Russell. At what age were you working for Russell?
20, I think 20 or 21.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were there that long.
Yeah. I was there 8 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I did my innings, bro.
Yeah, and then you said, then you've come to work here, basically do your own thing.
It was weird. Like, Bombr and I, early on in our friendship, we bonded over a book, The Alchemist, which I think we've gotten you onto.
Yeah,
Well,
you got me on.
We've got
You
you on
read
the
it?
list.
First episode. Yeah, bro. It's one of the best. It's the best book I ever read.
Come in.
So, you know, in The Alchemist, how our protagonist is, he sets off on a journey. I won't spoil it for anyone that hasn't read it, but our protagonist sets out on a journey, and then he gets a job in a jewelry store, crystal store.
Crystal shop. Yeah.
And he's making good money and he's enjoying it. But then one day he realizes that's not why he set out on that journey.
Yeah.
That was kind of where I was at. Like, I set out on this journey. I had no direction, I guess, and no goal when I picked up a camera. I just really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it was a combination of like hard work, being in the right place at the right time. But I just kept, you know, my career just kept snowballing. Like, it was like I did the YouTube thing, and I thought, like, my first ever overseas trip, I was only 15, and like overseas filming job. And like coming from North Richmond, you don't hear about that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is it. This is like the peak, bro. I'm in America. I'm 15 years old and I'm here.
Nah,
I thought that was the top, right?
yeah.
And then it was like, there was another level that I didn't expect. And then another level and another level. And it got to this point where I'm like working for Russell Crowe, and I'm like, no, this is it. Like, this is the top. But then I just, and it's no disrespect to anyone there, but I just felt like I got complacent. Like, I was just like, okay, I've done this and I've enjoyed it, every single bit of it, but I need that next thing. So in COVID, and Bombr will probably touch on this, but we were in lockdown rather, we were doing a lot of little film projects together. Obviously I didn't really have much work going on, so we were doing these little brand deals with like Huawei and Dell and all these.
Klarna was one of them when you picked up the ball again, eh?
Exactly. So we're doing all these little projects, and it's kind of at the same time that our friendship is like blossoming. And I realized that the whole reason I started enjoying filmmaking was to work with my friends.
Yeah.
So when I go back and work on a feature film, I meet some friends and it's all well and good and I'm having a good time. But then I'm just like thinking about my weekends and thinking about my nights where I'm going to go home and smash stuff with these boys. And
Yeah.
so it was like, I don't know, I came to realize that I appreciate, and Russell was so good when I left, man. Like, everyone was really good. I'm still on good terms with all of them. Actually, I'm going to see him this weekend. But yeah, I realized that, you know, working for Russell was my crystal shop, and it's not what I set out to do when I first started.
Yeah.
I set out to make films with my friends and make a difference, bro. Like, that was what was so cool about the action sports stuff. I got to connect with so many kids, and
Yeah.
I felt like I made a positive difference in a lot of people and a lot of people's lives. So it was just like, I know I got the ability to do that. So
Did you ever keep up with any of the kids that you filmed and that were on YouTube?
oh yeah, of course.
What was that kid's name that got 2.5 mil? Shay or Hayden or something?
2.5
I
mil.
checked your YouTube today. There was this kid.
Oh,
on there.
Hayden Weish.
Yeah, Weish.
Yeah. I still talk with him.
And you still talk with all, like, for people that were my age and following it was like, is it Warwick or?
Was I? Yeah.
Yeah, and then
He was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a few of the other boys like Cody Donovan,
Mhm.
He was here a few weeks ago as well.
and then who was the other one? Royce.
Royce King,
Yeah,
Ryan Williams.
Royce was the shit up in the mountains.
Royce is still the shit up in the
Yeah.
mountains. I love that kid. No, I'm still friends with all of them, and it's crazy. Like, and I'm sure it's the same with you in football. You know, traveling the world, doing something that you love, and being around other people that are traveling, doing the same thing that they love.
Surreal,
You it's weird, bro. And now, like, you have all these couches in different countries where you know you got a place to
Yeah.
kick back,
Sleep.
Mates
sleep, have
everywhere.
a nap. It started like, you know, I was in North Richmond making friends with people in Penrith and Glenbrook, and then it was Melbourne and Brisbane. Then it's Belgium and
Yeah, LA.
LA.
Yeah,
Like it's
nuts.
crazy.
would-
Like, the
would
world
come
is so big, but at the same time, bro, it's so small.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I want to cast him out real quick because he didn't touch on it. Tanner Fox owes not everything, but he owes a lot to Nickeh. He's like,
He
bro.
doesn't owe me anything.
He does. He said it to me and him. He said, bro, if it wasn't for Nickeh, I wouldn't have gone into YouTube facts.
Really?
Nah, I think he would have gone into YouTube. I think the thing with Tanner was he just saw that, you know, I was making videos a little bit different.
Yeah.
Showing he always says I showed like the lifestyle aspect, and I think
like the
Adam
scooter and
LZ
skate.
is who he owes things to. Adam LZ kind of set the pace of what Tanner did, but it was cool. Like I've always appreciated Tanner. I've known him for a long time, but
He's a
to
great
hear him
kid,
say
man.
that was really cool.
He's
He's
a
such a humble
Great
kid.
man.
Yeah. And we touched on it before. Your journey's like somewhat streamlined in a sense. It's very much involves one thing. You have done a few different things. For those listening, footballer as a kid
Yeah.
and in high school, what's the quote from Ty when you were going to go?
Cleaning the boots.
Yeah, clean the boots.
It's so, bro, I looked on your TikTok and some guy, this is a year ago, and some guy's like, you don't know Ty. I'm like, and I had to go back and go, bro, I'm business partners with him now, so sorry, bro. Had to. But yeah, that was a joke. But yeah, Ty's crushing it, bro. He's doing so good.
Yeah.
So proud of him. Wouldn't have this post without him, so.
Yeah, it's crazy. Talk about the football thing. You've never said, you never name drop. Was it? Actually, no, you have. It's Norwich, isn't it, that you were at?
Well, I was never really at a team. It was just like there, you get like a training trial, I guess. It's
Yeah,
similar
like
to
6
that.
weeks or something.
Oh, a bit more. I was there for a few months and then go to another club for 3 to 6. And then I was like, you trying to get a gig, you know?
Yeah.
Bro, I've been Nottingham Forest, Rochdale, Mansfield Town, Norwich City, Blackburn Rovers, like all these clubs.
Who was
go
at
around.
Blackburn when you were there? Phil Jones.
Phil Jones.
Is that the biggest footballer?
Brother, he got megged by me so easily, bro. But let's be honest now. No, I still rate him as defender, but yeah, it was back then. English defenders weren't technical, so it's so easy to razzle.
Yeah.
And I always remember that because I remember his face. We done the yo-yo test, and then we went out onto the pitch and had a game, and then we finished off with 1v1s, and their gaffer was there, and I was just a trialist. But yeah, I remember razzling a bit in that session. That was one of my most vivid memories from trials. But yeah.
And over in England, the football doesn't work out.
Yeah, I was there for 6 years at a lot of clubs. Last club was at Stockport.
Yeah.
We were there, and then done FA Cup and all that stuff, but it just didn't work out, bro.
And then you meet someone. What was his name? Ryan?
Ryan.
Who's-
Ryan. Yeah. Ryan Steele.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Ryan was doing customizable
He just started.
shoes.
It was funny because there was another boy that was training, Max. He was a Jamaican lad, and he started doing like the paints and stuff, and then Ryan started as well. I'm like, bro, this is so sick. And then when I come back, when I was 20 or 21, I actually made an Insta page. I never told you this. I made an Instagram page, and I can't remember if it was like custom something, and I just left it and didn't do it for like 6 years. And like six or 7 years after that, I actually started doing customs.
So you come back.
Yep.
that 6 years, what do you do in that 6
I
years?
started a soccer academy.
Yeah.
So I was working at another academy. I'm like, bro, these guys, like, respectfully, the knowledge I have, I can just push and do my own thing. So I just sent it, done my own thing for a few years. Had all these awesome kids training, bro. It was so fulfilling, like teaching them stuff that I knew, and they were doing it like 6 or 7 years old. It was insane. So that was so fulfilling for me to do. I had another business called Nickeh where I was doing street art and stuff. So that's where my nickname Bombr comes from. It's from like graph and stuff like that. Got on Sky News, doing some stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And
And then, wait, was it Nickeh or was it Graph where you met the guy at the Ivy for a lunch?
Nickeh. Yeah.
Nickeh. Do you want to talk about that again?
So Brett Whitford, so you can Google him, successful millionaire.
Yeah.
He lives in England now, but he was living in Mossman and just into Banksy and stuff. He had Banksy artwork in his house, and I just pulled him up on it. And he's like, "Do you like this stuff?" And I showed him mine. He was real keen, and he wanted to put a team behind me and all that. And as a kid, you're like, "Oh yeah, put a team behind me. Yeah, cool." So you think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's just how it works, bro. If you're too attached to it, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work out. But to be fair, Brett helped me heaps, man. He done all he could. He put me on the Archibald Prize, linked up with Mark Latham. Who's the other dude? Another reporter from Sky News. So I just had lunch with him at the Ivy. Do you know who was next to me? Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell was having lunch next to me.
Do you know
Arsenal
who Sol
player.
Campbell is?
No
One of the
idea.
best defenders Arsenal's ever had at all time was randomly sitting next to me. It was like a little omen.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? It's come from soccer to hear this meeting, thinking, oh, bro, this is gonna take off. And then all I remember is, I'm going to cut this story short, but I've done the Archibald Prize with Mark Latham. My artwork was way better than a lot of them.
Yeah.
They chose all these kids who've been to art school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Brett's like, nah, fuck this, bro. We're going to get you on the news. He knows everyone. Put me in the Australian newspaper. Put me on Sky News. I had like a belly on and that. And yeah, I still got the recording somewhere. But he was just explaining, he's like, this guy's been hard done by what? Because he's from Western Sydney. Didn't go to art school and this and that. You didn't put him up for it, up for a prize. So that was kind of like, I was like, got a bit disheartened because I thought that was it. I'm going to be the next Shepherd Ferry, like Obey, like be a mad brand and do it. And then, I just focused on my academy on that. And from the academy come Bombr sneakers.
And that
funded that.
That was in 2019, 2020?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a story of when you meet you that you tell him to scrap the Insta page, isn't it, at one point? And you go like, we're going to start it again?
Yeah, look, respectfully, he's a football player.
Come a long way.
He's come a long way. I think what he was doing a good job, but
It was terrible.
What were you doing?
Taking photos of Air Forces in
he
front
was
of our
using
house.
some app that
Oh
was
yeah,
like
Loopsy.
that was like adding like lightning bolts and shit. And I started.
Bro, I didn't have
Yeah,
Instagram. I didn't have Instagram, so I broke up with my ex-girlfriend at the time. I didn't have Instagram, so I'm like thinking all these things are cool, and then I met him. He's like, "Hey."
I did it respectfully. I said I waited a couple weeks, and I just said, "Look, man, I think it's a good idea if you archive your whole Instagram. We start again." And I remember we were driving somewhere, Jevon's house, and this guy would like almost slammed on the brakes. He's like, "What?" I said, "It's got to happen, brother."
But you know what was weird? I just had so much trust. So I'm like, after him saying, you know how you get that initial, like you're like, "Oh, really?" And you get that.
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, the hurt.
They hurt. And I was like, bro, what? And then I thought, nah, I'm going to just, whatever he says goes, I'm going to go. And then we were on like 3K followers. And I was all about followers then. Not that I care now. And he's like, bro, you go 10K in 6 months. And that's what happened. It was under that, I think.
Crazy.
But I don't know. I just like, I don't know, bro. I'm a bit of a weirdo. Like I'm a massive weirdo. But I always like in school, if I like fucked up my margin, remember I used to have to do margins and
You rip the paper out and go again.
I'd rip my paper out. Like if I fucked up or if I fucked up a word, I couldn't just white it out. I had to rip the page out, start again.
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm always about like, I don't know, refreshing shit just makes me happy. Like every now and then I will just, because I'm pretty organized on my computer system and stuff. Like video files go in separate folders to proxy files and image files and everything's organized. If you want me to pull something up, I can pull it up real quick. But every now and then I'll just take everything off my Mac, everything off my drives, archive them, refresh everything. And I feel like it's a new start.
Yeah,
So
right.
I'm big on that. Like that's why I said to him, I'm like, I think what we are about to do is going to be pretty special. Let's turn a new page and see what happens. And it worked.
Bro, it worked. Cracker.
And that duo led you to the original 2-7 project.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
with a couple friends.
Now, for those listening, anyone from Sydney, the first 2-7 project was in St. Mary's, in like an alley, you'd say like an alleyway essentially, under a gym.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the shit.
It was
Like, I
cool.
remember-
We thought it was the shit.
I thought it was the best
Bro,
little
when,
man
when I
cave.
walked in, I was like, this is like, shout out Flat, but when Flat brought me there, 2021?
Oh, yeah. You done an interview with me or something, right?
Yeah, maybe.
That was
Bombr
a
and,
and there was a,
Helos or something. Helos, sorry.
yeah. And then I think I met you that night,
Maybe.
or maybe like a week or two later.
So that whole year I was a zombie.
Just working on
I was working on a movie, and
I remember
was
I
just
met you at like
I-
7 on a Friday night or something.
Yeah, I mean the lights were there, but no one was home. If you get what I'm saying.
Can I ask what movie it was?
It was Poker Face,
Oh wow!
which is out on Stan. It was a great experience. Don't get me wrong, I had a great time.
Didn't
but
that come out recently?
yeah,
Oh, fuck.
but I did a lot of hours, bro. And I was driving to and from Fox every day.
Yeah.
So when you're doing like, I don't know, say 14-hour days by the time I pack up and everything, and then driving to and from 2 hours, it's 18 hours.
Yeah, fuck that.
It was a long time, but I'm grateful for that opportunity. It was hectic.
Yeah, and that studio was also shared with Seta.
Correct.
Shout out.
He's still there.
Yeah, shout out Kyle. And in that studio, I thought that was the coolest space. You ever like look around now as to what you've built here?
We kind of move real. We always talk about it, don't we? We kind of move real quick and we don't realize it. We're like, yeah, this is mad, but like, we can do better, and that's with everything, right? We just
How long
do
were
that.
you in the St. Mary's one for?
A year.
Yeah, well, we were kind of there for like 6 months because we were in and out of lockdown.
Yeah,
and
lockdown messed
all
us
kinds of
up,
stuff
right?
happened.
I
And we
remember
spoke about it on our podcast, but we just felt like we overstayed our welcome. And it wasn't that Kyle and Miss were trying to get us out because they weren't by any means, but
that. They wouldn't take a percent.
they
off
wouldn't
us.
take money off us, and we just kind of felt like
They've done so much for us.
they did
man.
so much for us, and we don't like we appreciate it, but we don't do well with handouts. I feel like we
Pay
just
for
want
everything, make sure it's done right. You know.
which they were the best though. Like they would always come and check in on us and make sure we're all good. And Mrs. family too. Like we love them all so
Cool.
much. They're the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel and stuff. No?
Yeah.
In the space we're in now, 2-7 Project in Penrith.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was 2 years ago, I reckon, or 18 months. Was that when? Yeah, that would have been first mentioned early last year. Hey.
To build this one?
Yeah.
No. We were so happy. Where are we now? 2021. When did Ty fight Greg Hardy?
22 January.
It was early 22. Yeah, you're right actually.
Yeah, I feel like it was early last year.
Yeah, so again, we spoke about this on our pod, but I met Ty. Bombr already knew Ty. I knew who Ty was. Bombr and Ty went to school together, but I met Ty and we clicked like straight away.
Yeah.
And then we were just throwing ideas, and he's like, "This place is hectic," and I'm like, "We could do so much more if we had the facilities." And then Ty had a really good run, and he's like, "You know what? Let's do it. Let's all come together and see what happens." And you get this place.
And when did it start being built? It was like June or July or August?
No, it wasn't that. It was I think we found the place in August. We kind of started getting access September,
We started getting fit out late
and
September.
then like late September, early October, we started actually doing shit.
Yeah, I remember when I first came in here, I was sweeping up cement.
Oh, yep, yeah.
Right, it's crazy how quickly it was built.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I don't know if he
Fucky
swept longer than 5 minutes, but he did touch the broom. So technically,
No, I did broom.
broom.
I was brooming.
What?
Broom,
And I brought little Ben with me.
Ben?
Ben. Oh yeah, you ever know Ben? I remember Ben coming, but I don't remember you sweeping. Maybe for some, I don't know, credibility or something, saying that you done something.
Sweeping. Interesting. No, I do remember that.
Yeah, nah, dude.
We appreciate you, Fox. We just like to
You're a
give it
legend,
to you.
bro.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not gonna bite like flat. I'm not gonna bite like flat.
Nobody bites like flat. No, so yeah, you came through, and it was kind of a concrete box, huh?
Yeah.
And
the
it-
cyclorama wall was maybe the first.
Yeah, that was the
That's
first thing
why
we
we were
did.
sweeping.
But it was so
Yeah.
cool, bro, because like I don't even think these boys envision it the way I did. They all had like the best heart and they knew what we were building. But
I had no idea.
I had this vision in my head, and it's crazy. Like it's detail for detail what we've got. In fact, the thing that we got now is probably better than what I expected.
It's better than
It was
what
so
I
it was
thought.
so crazy, bro. Like we had a budget, and it was a decent budget. Thank you, Uncle Ty. But it's so crazy, bro. Like, and this is why I just love Western Sydney so much. All these other guys and girls that are doing their own thing were just so willing to help, and like Chris from CVD, bro. He has added so much value to this place by just putting some glass in. Jimmy Matchett, JMS Painting, has made the floor the best feature
It's hectic.
in the studio. You got Jamie from Image Projects, who's come through and made us a hectic table. And if we've needed something done, we're not the best tradies. We give it a crack, but we're not great. He's sorted it for us. And then Wade from Creative Signs, just the cherry on top of the feature wall and the neon sign up the front.
Yeah.
And just like all these other companies just come through and like added their 2 cents, bro. And I think that they're just all stoked to like see that we're giving it a crack.
Yeah.
And it's just like if we were to do this without the favors of people and like
Shout out Forky while we're at it.
bro, Forky is
Even
the goat,
Forky,
bro. But like all these people, Forky has done so much, bro. Like without even realizing it. But like the contribution of all these people has made this place like has taken it from like a 5 to a 9. And I wouldn't say 10, but it will never be a 10 for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like wanting more.
True creative.
But I think these boys would all say it was like 50 out of 10, you know.
I love it, bro. Every time I step in, I say it once a day, don't I? We both do. Fucking love
But
this
I
place,
think
man.
that's like the most like thing I'm proud of with myself is that like I do take those step backs and go like, fuck, look at us.
Do you think you do that because it's been such a blur to
Bro,
get hit, bro? It's gone so quick, and we're here.
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, like I think it keeps you humble, you know.
Mm.
Like there's been times where I've been at things with Russell or whatever, and I'm there, but in my conscience I'm like taking a step back, almost like an out of body experience, and going like, fuck, bro.
Yeah.
And like thinking like what, 13-year-old Nick would be thinking right now.
Yeah.
And I still do that every day. Like, well, not every day, but every time something happens where I'm like, fuck, I need to be proud of this, but I don't sit on it for too long. I'll be proud for a little bit, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and back into it.
Yeah.
And you do the same.
100%. 100%.
I do the same. You were like my number one inspiration.
Oh, were?
Thanks, bro.
He
No,
was.
bro, honestly.
He
No,
was.
he had it on lockdown. He
Was.
had my age group. So what, 2000 to, I'd say 98 to 2002. Nickeh Films had on lockdown with his skate park stuff. Skate, monster edits, all that shit.
Yeah,
it was
hectic.
completely on lock. You were
I
over playing
wish-
football in England, so maybe you weren't around for that.
Wish you were around for that period, bro.
Yeah, me too, bro.
But, bro, you know how crazy it is? Like,
Oh, if he was at Glenbrook, we'd have a kick chat. I still remember it. And you'd get like a message like Nickeh and his mates are at Glenbrook filming today and shit like that.
Really?
that's hectic. But it's crazy. Like, and you've seen it a couple times. Like, even today, bro, it still wigs me out. Like, it was a couple weeks ago, I was at the petrol station. I'm filling up. And this young lad, he would have been early 20s, maybe 22, 23.
Yeah, it's around my age.
Comes out of the Caltex on M4. He's like, Nickeh, are you Nickeh Films? I'm like, yeah, bro. He's like, fuck, I haven't thought about you in a long time, but I just got to say, like, you were my childhood. And I was like, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Crazy,
a
yeah.
wig out. Like, this guy's seen it, like, on the M4 we've been driving. And kids are out the window like, Nickeh!
Send him
I'm
out
like-
to play it.
Which I think, like, it's so cool, bro. Like, that, I never set out for that to happen, but I was just having a good time.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it's crazy, like, in the peak of it, bro, like, when I was, like, 18, 19, we're in London and, like, hundreds, and they won't just turn off for me, they'll turn off for the other boys. But hundreds of kids turning up to skate parks, and, like, these kids would be like, bro, that edit you did with blah, 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 how did you do this and that? And I'd be like, how the fuck do you even know about that? Like,
Yeah.
it was so crazy, like, how big it got
Yeah, it was
at that one point in time. Like 2000, what are we talking, like 2010
13.
to 2014, I'd say. Were
Yeah.
like
It was
the
big
peak
stuff,
years,
eh?
bro. It was crazy, bro.
Yeah. Did you not know about all this?
No.
No, even Ty the other day, someone mentioned something. He goes, "What are you talking about?" No, like Nickeh used to be like popping, and he goes, "What?" And I'm like, I always talk it down. Like to me, I was just having a good time, but like, yeah, bro, like he had wheels that sold out in Russia and all this shit, and Ty's like, "What the fuck?" It's funny though, like, bro, I don't know. I don't know if it got too deep into all that shit, but the coolest thing for me was like seeing all these other people that I would involve, like my cousin Josh Newbert,
Yeah.
you would know him as, just like getting these crazy opportunities
Yeah.
from the videos, which was cool.
Yeah, it was nuts at the time. Best way to put it was like if you take a Grime Daily in 2016, right?
Oh yeah.
But like instead of the artists being the more famous people, it was like Grime Daily itself was also famous, and that's what Nickeh was. So there was a bunch of different athletes essentially all at one page, but Nickeh wasn't anonymous like maybe a music person would be.
Yeah.
So everyone knew Nickeh as well, and he was part of the movement. But everyone was amazed by how he could edit because like back then there was no like as a kid, it's no Adobe Premiere, we're all on iMovie, or Sony Vegas was the other one.
I was using Adobe, like the OG Adobe, but
Yeah, but you got a bit of
Hmm?
14-year-old me didn't have that coin around.
brother, I didn't have coin until a couple of years ago. No, I was just like I used the crack versions back in the day.
I remember
Well,
that.
I pay for my Adobe now.
Do you
so
remember?
Don't come after me.
Do you ever jailbreak your like first iPhones and iPods?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember all that shit.
All those free games and that free music.
Yeah, I ain't paying for Angry Birds.
Yeah. We'll go back to it now. Let's walk through the studio for someone who isn't aware of completely what it offers. Walk us through it.
So, at its base form, it's a concrete room with reflective floors, a cyclorama, backdrops, lighting, and atmosphere. I think the atmosphere
A
is the
podcast
most
room as
important.
well.
Yeah, I'll
That's what
get
we're
to
in.
that. But essentially, it's a content studio. It's a place that you can come. You can bring your own creatives. You can bring yourself if you're a creative and you can create content. Or if you're a brand, you can come and hire the likes of us to do the content for you. You can come and network. We're going to be having events here where we can network with each other and bounce ideas because that's when I think the real magic happens.
Yeah.
We've got the podcast studio that you're sitting in right now, which is going to be finished in the next week or so properly with the new room
Yeah.
that we spoke about before. So you can come and do a podcast here. We'll shoot it for you if you want. We'll edit it for you if you want, or you can just use our facilities and take your files and go sort it out yourself. But I think it was just like there was a hole in the market in Western Sydney. People still don't understand what it is, which is cool. And I think there's so much talent out here. And there obviously are other studios, Common and whatnot. But I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to make a really unique space.
Yeah.
And something that I was like stoked to shoot in every day. And I do not get bored shooting here, which is weird. Because you know me, like I'll go to a spot like 3 times and be like, I can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
So it was just building a place that has endless opportunities
Yeah.
in the West, for the West, but for everybody.
When you built this place, obviously like the goal of a business is get your return on investment plus some, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you built this place, was a major idea or concept behind it to give back to the younger generation of Western Sydney?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We're happy just to be here.
We couldn't care less if this place didn't make $1 profit. As
Okay.
if it could pay for itself, that'd be nice. So that
Yeah.
we're not paying
Your own
rent and
pocket.
whatnot ourselves between the 4 of us. But I know for a fact that the content we make inside here is where the money will come.
Yeah.
But making money off of this place itself was never really the game plan.
Yeah.
So like we've got so many ideas and like I'm excited to share them like with Ty. Ty's so creative, bro.
Yeah.
And he's got all these ideas that we're going to put into action.
Yeah.
That's where the deals and whatnot will come. But it was more just like, let's build the spot where people can come and express themselves and try things. And, you know, we just wanted, you know, and Ty speaks about this on the Mark Boris podcast, that if a lot of people out here have that mindset that you give like footy a crack and you don't make footy, so that's it. I'll
Yeah.
go. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, following your dad or becoming a builder or whatever, because the world doesn't happen without those people. But we just want to show people that there's other opportunities. If you want to give photography a crack, you can do it. And we're building the spot for you to do that at.
Yeah.
But it's just, trying to encourage creativity. You know how many creative people there are out here, bro.
Nuts. Especially like younger generation. First one that comes to mind always is Jason.
100%.
Like he had his brand idea and then got the opportunity to come in here early. And then like the shots that came out of that just basically helped him sell out of his whole stuff.
And what was cool was I didn't help with that at all. He came in here. J-Mac came in here. They did their thing. They might have asked me a question or two, but I left them to it.
Yeah.
And look what they come up with.
It's crazy,
It's
eh?
hectic. And that was just one combination. Now imagine another creative comes in here, does something with Jason, or J-Mac brings another brand in here. It's another combination. It just kind of makes this web of creativity and networks. And that was before, we haven't even really opened yet. Like we're taking bookings, but we haven't had our open day. We haven't been advertising anything.
No,
It's just been social media.
it's growing organically, just doing.
But I
Build
think once
content and whatnot.
people get a taste of what can be achieved here, it's going to be
Yeah.
exciting.
When are you going to start putting out your own content? Because I feel like people would love it.
I'm gonna bank it up.
We've been banking those bitches up.
Mm,
We
yeah.
got a couple of vlogs, couple behind the scenes videos. We've got 2 podcasts already in action, 2 more on the way. One's kind of a podcast, but it's also, I don't want to give too much away yet. It's a bit of a pod and a vlog kind of combined.
Oh, wow. It's different.
Yeah, we're very, it's crazy, bro. We wrote this list. Okay, so we wrote this list upstairs in the boardroom. There were 3 columns.
I'm locking the door so he doesn't go and see it.
He's going to steal our guests. We got 3 columns on our list. We got light work, which was people we could ask to be on our podcast, and we know 7
Like it's
days a
done.
week they're saying
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We had, what was the middle one called?
Potential.
Potential. People in our circle, not sure if they'll say yes, but, send them a box of cookies and then hit them up maybe.
Yeah. See where
Like,
it goes.
it could get there. Then we had the
What's the last one?
shoot your shot or something.
Oh yeah, shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. Just people that we've never spoken to before, but we want on the podcast, right? So far, we've only reached out to maybe 10 people about the pod. Some of them shoot your shots, some of them potentials, some of them light works. Every person said yes. The craziest thing is the person we have on Wednesday, I'm not going to say any names yet, I'm not going to jinx anything, was so far-fetched that he wasn't even on the shoot the shot.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, like, he's out of there.
Like
Out of
when
the
you think
realm
of
of
that
what you
person and
think.
think of us, like there has never been a conversation in existence of all time in eternity where one of our names and their name has been in the same sentence. So it's a bit of a weird one,
Yeah.
but I'm so excited, bro. I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited.
We can't explain it here, but obviously there's an obvious connection now.
There's a massive obvious
So when it
connection.
comes out, that'll make sense to a lot of
Yeah.
people. But if you were to name drop right now, I reckon like most of Western Sydney would be like, what the fuck? Like, how's that happen?
We like doing stuff and then seeing people's reaction off that, especially with content. We never especially when do you remember when we used to do the drops? I never name the drop, never tell anyone, and then I'll just go Wednesday, bang.
Yep.
It like builds the hype, the demand's there, and then
Problem is you can't build
everyone.
hype for too long these days. People don't have
yeah,
the
they have
attention
attention
span.
span.
Like if you're hyping something up, you got like a week max.
Turn that around.
You can't be like, oh, I'm dropping this podcast episode in a month. Because
Yeah.
people will be like, fuck that. Drop it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants everything now. And it doesn't help that we just have so much selection and variety in our lives. Like I remember as a kid, bro, you go to Video Easy, and I'm sure you remember this. You're probably too young.
I
You
used
go
to
to-
go. I used to go.
Yeah, but do you remember the OGs? So you go to Video Easy and there'd be a overnight release and you'd be
Oh
like,
yeah.
fuck, it's like $7. And $7 to us was like,
9 times out of 10,
lot
your
of
mum
money.
will go, put that back.
yeah, you might be like, no, don't get the $7
Need the
one. You
free day-
can have a
free
weekly
nighter
or a
weekly,
3-nighter.
that's it.
And like renting a movie was like such a fucking awesome thing as a kid. Like you'd look forward to it on the week.
Yeah,
Mom, can we go to
it's
Video
fun.
Easy? and you'd be
As you're
getting.
talking, I can picture myself
Oh,
walking
I
through the aisles,
miss that
going through the
shit so much.
checkout, getting like popcorn,
Yeah,
salt
and you'd be like,
caramel.
"Oh, I'm getting this movie and this movie," and you'd watch every
Do
single
you
second.
remember taking it back and you put it through the pigeonhole?
Yeah,
Returns.
I remember also giving my mum like $800 in late fees over the years.
Oh,
But like you go and you'd be like, I'm getting this movie. And even if the movie was absolutely rubbish, you've spent $6, $7 on this movie, you're watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
These days, you go home, you pick up your smart
Spoiled
TV
for
remote,
choice.
and you
Bro,
got
that's
a
the problem.
billion movies at your fingertips, and this one's shit, and this one, there's like 8 feature films coming out on the same day, and you're, no, I'm not going to watch this one. And you're just like, I feel like that's everything. Like, it was funny on my Facebook memories the other day. My status was, I wish it was possible to download food. And this was like 14 years ago I said this.
Yeah.
I wish it was possible to download food. And I thought about it and I'm like, you pretty much fucking can. Uber Eats. Uber
Yeah.
Eats. Like it's
Should've started
essentially
it, brother.
you click, you want a burrito and it appears at your doorstep 20 minutes later. It's the closest thing we're ever going to get to downloading food.
Yeah.
But it's like we're just, yeah, you're right. We're just spoiled for choice.
Even
these days.
especially with content.
So yeah, anything content, whatever it is, I feel like it's kind of wrecked a lot of things.
You have
really.
to really, you talk about this all the time, and I'm speaking like this is something he would say, Nickeh would say. You need to get that person's attention the first few seconds.
Yeah.
100%.
Otherwise, they just scroll right through, bro. So, but yeah, very, very spoiled for choice, like you were saying, Falks.
Yeah, I don't really watch it anymore, eh?
Anything.
Anything. I watch football highlights and then I just do my own thing for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I reckon I get like too fried by it. Like what sitting at a TV because I sit behind my laptop all day after work and during my work break. Then I go home and do more work. Last thing I want to fucking do is just watch like I don't know.
When I
feel
do
like,
the 15-minute trick. 15 minutes. Give it 15 minutes. If nothing's got me, I'll turn it off.
yeah, I watch docos if I watch anything.
Yeah, then
I love a good doco.
Docos, man.
But I couldn't tell you the last movie I watched. Actually, it was Good Will Hunting.
Cool.
No,
Hunting.
that's
the movie.
the movie I was trying to think
yesterday.
of yesterday.
Yeah, it's
What a
going.
flick there, huh?
Yeah, it's arguably like the best movie of all time.
Yeah, it's one of them. That's for sure.
Shout out Robin Williams. I wish he was here. Now, 2-7 Projects opened, and this whole like you're both 30-ish.
Wow, I'm 29.
29.
He's 30 soon.
29.
He's 30 really soon.
Move on.
Ty turned 30 the other day.
Yeah,
Ty
old
turned
bastard.
30 the
Chris
other
is
day.
already like 45,
I think he's turned 47.
47, something like that.
Gone.
Yeah.
Do you ever look back at like your 16-year-old self and the businesses you've built? Because now you're both technically dual businesses like running. Do you ever look back and just think like, fuck, do you reckon 16-year-old me would have ever thought this was possible?
Fuck no. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing. I remember sketching boots and sneakers as a kid, but never thought this would be a thing. Like, never. You?
Going back to what I said before, like, I never really had. I've always had this like, and I hope this doesn't sound cocky or whatever, but I've never been okay with just being okay. I've always had this like thing where like, I don't know, like I'm not cool with just
Average.
average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very much the
And
same.
I didn't know what it was that I was gonna do, but I knew I was gonna do something fulfilling. And as I said, bro, like I was in America when I was 15. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been dreaming about my whole life. I remember this sounds so weird. I might have said this on your podcast. I've said it on a podcast. I'm not sure which one. But I'm a big daydreamer, bro. Like I envision things, and like it's only since I've met this guy that I've been speaking aloud about them, and it's crazy how many I've spoken into existence. So I get these visions, bro, and it's almost like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't want to say like I'm predicting the future or anything weird like that, but sometimes it's crazy. Like I go, this is what's going to happen, and this is how I'm going to make that happen. So I'd always have these things like I'd be walking home from school. I just had this vision of this van. This sounds so sketchy. This van picking me
you
up
said this on my
and
pod.
going out, and like that was it. Like we're going on a skate trip, and that happened, bro. And then it was just like, okay, cool. One day I'm gonna go to America. That happened. I was like, all right, cool. And then all these like things I ticked off, I was like, okay, that's the cap. Surely it's gonna cap there. But then once I'd experienced that, it was like, okay, this is the next one I'm gonna aim for. And this the 2-7 Project studio, it was never I never had the idea of the 2-7 project, but the fact of having a studio with my friends was always something I was working towards. Right now, it's like I think it's just building this. That's my main thing. But this was like a major milestone
Yeah.
for me. I didn't expect it to happen this quick, but
isn't it crazy at the time? It feels like it goes fucking ages. Like, you
Bro,
know, when you're waiting, like
100%.
from the cyclorama wall to like just like out there being finished. During that like few weeks, it feels like it's a fucking eternity.
bro, and
And we
like
sit here
there's
now.
so many things that you just don't learn until you're doing them. Like I feel like in school you should be learning more about like contracts and lawyers and all these things. Real estate licenses and bro, there's so many things that like we get through one hurdle and be like, all right, we've got public liability insurance, sweet, that's done. And then in the real estate agent be like, okay, now you need this, and it's like, fuck, how do we? Like, I don't know anything about this, and I feel like that was a big learning curve. And all these like if you followed my journey since I was like 17, 18, I've had all these little brands, clothing brands and whatnot along the years. I feel like Matthew McConaughey green lights, they didn't work, and I'd be real bummed. I'm like, oh, why didn't that work? And at the time it seemed like a red light, but now in hindsight they were all little green lights because I learnt little things from each one, which I've now put into Pixel Park and Nickeh Films and 2-7 Project.
Yeah.
But it's everything. Yeah, it feels like it's gone forever, and you feel like you're never gonna learn everything, and it's kind of a scary, overwhelming feeling when you're like, fuck, I got to get insurance, and I got to get a law team, and I got to get accountants, and I got to get all this stuff. But if you just keep chipping away, bro, it eventually gets there.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned before, caught me straight away. You said, I always wanted to open a studio with my friends. Ever trip you out like the network that's been created over the past few years? 'Cause it trips me out when I walk in here because you have like 7-0. For those that don't know, there's a wall. How would you describe the wall? What's
It's like a feature wall.
feature wall?
It's like a collage of people from Western Sydney.
Yeah, so it's got anyone from like Jess Fox to 1-4, and it's got footy players and all that. Does it ever trip you out as like thinking all these people are within my immediate network for both of you?
It's crazy, bro.
Because I feel like if you take a step back,
Yeah, now you.
I'll let you tell this one, but tell him about the day we met.
Oh, bro, the first thing basically we spoke about when we got comfortable after shooting what we were doing that day, we were shooting some Air Forces or whatnot, we said to each other, how cool would it be having a studio together with a couple of mates? That was the first conversation we had.
And that was already an idea I had written down years ago.
Mm.
But having someone else that finally had, without me suggesting it, because I could go to anyone, I could go to UFAX and be like, hey, bro, I want to do this studio. And you would be like, yeah, I'm in.
yeah,
But for someone else to come to me and go, hey, I got this idea, let's do a studio. It was like, all right, this is like who I need to do it with.
yeah,
But bro, like, think about the thing that wigs me out. Like, that network thing is a wig out for sure. But the bigger wig out is that I've only known this guy 2.5 years.
yeah. It's crazy.
Facts.
That's crazy.
It's weird, bro. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I've known you for 30. That's what's nuts too. Because we've been in each other's pocket and just working and
I
grinding,
guess it's
chipping away.
nearly 3 years now, actually.
Yeah.
But still, 3 years, like,
Look what you built.
bro.
Wasn't the
That's
first?
literally what we used to say. Look what we've done already. You keep going, we keep doing it. Look what we've done. Look what we've done.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm not speaking on behalf of you, but I'm always chasing that fulfillment.
Massive.
It's not enough. It's never enough. Like now we're only talking about one day he'll have his own place. I have my own next door.
yeah.
In my warehouse with my shoes. and
Bro,
whatnot,
even
do
like
all that.
the simplest things we've spoken into existence are crazy. Like, so we used to live together, right?
Yeah.
And then we both got girlfriends, and obviously the girls wanted their own spots. So he moves to Cranebrook. I stay in Jordan Springs. Not long later, I get a different house in Jordan Springs. He goes, oh, Nickeh, there's a house for rent on your street. But because we live on like a circuit, the street name changes. It's the same street though.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm going to show Heels. And they go and look at this house and they get it. And he texts me, brother, I'm on your street. I'm no shit, bro. Like, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. He's probably 18 houses from me, right?
Yeah.
18 houses around a bend. Sounds like a lot. It's really not that much. He calls me the other day. Hillary just bought a house. And I'm thinking, fuck. Like, you live so close to me. This is hectic. And he goes, brother, it's 8 houses away from me. But we always spoke about, like, if we can't live together, we're gonna live
Muslims.
next door to each other. And sure enough, bro, it keeps getting closer and closer.
Just the dumb stuff, bro.
Bro,
Just
It would
manifesting.
like, you know what would make my life, like, let's say all goes well, 2-7 projects doing well, we got a massive studio, all these creatives are smashing it. Some company comes to us and says, we love your podcast, we love your show, we love this, we love that. Here's $1 billion. My first thing I would do, bro, is like go to Cranebrook, you know, like the acreage side of Cranebrook.
Yeah.
I'd like offer someone some stupid amount for their, like, pay them 10 times what their house is worth or whatever, and just build our own suburb. Like, have this guy have a house, have me have a house, build one for Chris. You can live there, Falky.
Shout out.
And we just got like this.
Kundai as well. We'll bring Kundai.
Oh, Kundai's there. Cameron can. No, I'm joking, Cameron. I'm joking.
Chef, man.
I'll buy you a house too,
You
brother.
can be the chef.
But no, just like, bro, I don't know. I just love being around my friends, bro.
Yeah.
I love my network of, and I love all my old friends from school too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, bro. I'm so fucking happy with my circle of people in my life right now. Like, we don't do negativity. We don't do any of that stuff. It's like, if you're in my life, you're in my life for a reason, and I hope that I'm in your life for a reason too.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same, Like, I have my mates, and then I have, to put it short, it's like Flat has his mates as well, but then there's like Flat, Kundai, and creatives like that are trying to get at it, like Ben, Jamae, all those boys. Then there's like yourselves and people I met at Open, John Bernard, things like that, where like I can text you and whatnot. I think it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a trip out for me. Even like watching your circle from afar, because you guys don't really see fame anymore as a thing, right? These are all just people to you.
Yeah, the boys.
But I'm still someone who goes to like footy games. And I'm still around people who are completely in the world of they're a famous person. They see Cleary out and they're a famous person. But when
I've never, you know what? I've never been like that. Never been starstruck.
I'm not massive on it. Ty would, funnily enough, people listening, I haven't met Ty yet properly.
You just missed him before, by the way.
Yeah, but like Ty would freak me out. But that's like, I
think like if I can give unwanted and unasked for advice right now, anyone like this, like I've met some real famous people, like big famous people.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't want to name drop and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you treat that person, you gotta, like, my biggest advice to everyone out there, you gotta act like you've been to the show before.
Yeah.
Don't go, oh fuck. Like Nathan Cleary, I've always known who he is obviously, and I think he kind of had a rough idea of who I was. But we went to Vegas together. We never hung out together, and you just act like that's one of the boys, and we clicked. Like I see him all the time now. It's just like anyone like that, like. You just got to act like you've been to the show before, and they're going to respect you 10 times more. And like, it's like all these like young kids we get in the studio. We tell them that's our first advice. You got to act like you've been to the show before. If someone comes in here, don't be like, oh, let me get a photo, because the 2-7 project, yeah, it's the studio and whatnot, but we want it to be a place where your Clearys and your 1-4s and that go, oh, there's an event on at 2-7. Like, I can just hang out with the boys. I don't have anyone in my face. It's a little escape. I can, like, bro, all the boys, anytime, even at the old studio spending that will come through and hang out and watch telly or watch YouTube and play PlayStation or whatever. Like, we want them to feel free to come there. And if you act like, you know, holy shit, that's Spenny 1-4 or that's Sony Luke or that's Stephen Crichton, then unfortunately you're going to wig the person out at some point. But if you act like you've been to the show before, those photo opportunities and those things are going to come naturally. But yeah, you and I have both never been big on like going back to like looking in on our circle from afar. It seems like all famous people. It's not. It's just like that we're all come together because we're all got a passion for what we're doing. We all respect each other's hustles, and you know we've all got each other's backs.
Yeah. And you're part of a movement.
We're part of a movement. But
It's like, London 2010 to 2013. It's very similar.
Which movement? The grime
scene? One. Yeah, it's very similar. Western Sydney movement.
I had that album.
It's exciting, bro. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go on about it because we're going on about it and all these things, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm big on like subtle fuck yous. Like, I don't like revenge. I don't like any of that stuff, but a nice subtle fuck you is always good. And the fact that so much cool stuff's coming out of here now.
Yeah.
And like I used to cop so much stuff back in the day. Even up until recently about being from out here. Like there's a certain person that I know you know of that said something recently. I'm not going to say his name.
Him.
Yeah.
You're thinking too deep.
You're thinking way too deep right now.
Right.
But being from Western Sydney, you can do better.
I'm wasting my time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Brother,
So stuff like
respectfully.
that, I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, bro, like you tell me I'm wasting my time out here, then we all together will show you what we're capable of, you know?
Oh, know who it is. My bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
he's
Went
here,
straight over
ladies
it.
and gentlemen. Welcome back, Falcon.
He's awake.
But yeah, I don't address any of that stuff. I just think it's, if anything, that's just, you just put fuel on my fire, bro.
Yeah. What do you think about the stigma of Western Sydney?
I think it's gotten a lot better.
Everyone wants to be from Mountie, bro. Now. Well, majority of people. I don't want to talk about the beef and that, but most people, especially eastern suburbs, TNs and that.
Oh, it's fucked. So first time I met JM's, right? So one of my younger mates, Jake, his grandmother and JM's grandmother, like best friends, right? So Jake and JM's knew each other from young. Jake's 2 years younger than me, so there's only a few. He's closer to YP's age. We're in Manly, and we went down to Wharf Bar. And we walk in, and 1-4 has like this corner of Wharf Bar, right? But Jake's walking, and JM's is there, and Spenny's ordering a drink, and then there's like Jake and myself, and Jake's talking to one of the boys in there because he knows them, and then we go outside, and they're having a dart or something, or having a vape. I can't remember what it was, and then Jake was like, "Oh, we'll get a photo with JM." So it was me and Jake got a photo with JM's. And then like these kids from like Eastern Sydney, like Watson's Bay, Mossman, all come like running over. And it just, I couldn't believe it. Like TNs, Air Maxes, the pants, the
Used to
shirts.
cop shit for that, wearing that stuff back in the day.
Now it's the thing.
You know what?
Kids
Though,
with
like,
millionaire mummy and daddies. Like,
Give me
I'm not
TNs.
mad. I'm not mad at those kids though, because like at the end of the day,
that's what's cool.
yeah. But also like they weren't born, and it was like, do you want the blue pill or the red pill? Do you want to
Yeah.
grow up in Western Sydney, or do you want $1 million in your bank account by the time
Yeah.
you're 18? Like I feel like we're all kind of like, you know, you got no choice, right? So you get what you're given. So if these people in the East want to like what's cool and want to like what's happening in the West, that's fine. But it's like, to me, it's the people that used to talk shit
Yeah.
that have switched sides and
sure.
think like they're the ones that really annoy me. Or like the people that like Bombr and I, we didn't have the best situation growing up, but we didn't have a bad one. We had roofs over our heads. Bombr had a tougher upbringing than I did. But there was also, and I know you agree on this, there was also a million other kids that had it worse than you.
That's what got me through it, bro.
But it's like I had, my mum did the best she could, bro. I always had, you know, things I wanted. If I wanted a skateboard, she'd save up and get me a skateboard. If I wanted a camera, my grandma actually helped her get me my first camera.
Shout out Nickeh's grandma.
Shout out Franny, you absolute legend. But no, like it's the ones that try and fake the narrative that frustrate me. Like, you don't have to come from nothing to be something.
Yeah.
Don't act like you come from nothing.
Whole underdog story, right? Like you see it everywhere.
Yeah, like everyone loves a good narrative, fair enough. But also, like, you don't have to fake it. Like, just
Like,
be
we
who
accept
you are.
brother. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't need to.
Like, I remember this quote, bro, that and this is a little bit relevant, but I just thought about it before. You know, I got some friends that collect Pokemon cards, and then I got other friends that would kill you if you hurt me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm friends with all of them. Like I care about my friends that come from nothing just as much as I do about my really successful friends. But it's just like, it's the fake ones that frustrate me the most. The ones that are like, yeah, I come from the trenches and this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you don't have to act like that.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. But I think the cool thing about 270 is like, yeah, we're building this in the West and it's for the West. But if you're a creator in the eastern suburbs, or you're from Melbourne, or you're from Brisbane, don't feel like you can't come here. We want everyone here. We want to build that network where photographers here might meet you and you might be a model from Melbourne, but then you're DMing each other and next thing you know, you're flying down to Melbourne to shoot with that model, or like, that's what this spot is. It's just that we didn't, besides you got your open
Yeah.
and whatnot. But we just wanted to do our own thing,
Yeah. Fill a gap.
fill a gap.
Yeah, because nothing like that, like past, like you'd say, like what Blacktown, Parramatta. This wasn't
100%.
quite something
But
like this.
also, like, I feel like even the ones in the city were unique too.
Yeah.
Like the layout. Everyone comes here, bro. We had a pretty major client here from the city today, and even they were saying like, "Man, this is cool.
Yeah.
How you
that's
guys
sick.
have done this is cool." It's cool to hear, bro.
Yeah, that's sick. You mentioned unique.
Yeah.
Now we'll get on to unique here.
Mm.
What do you got in the pipeline for this year? You put it on your Instagram 2 weeks ago or
Little
3 weeks.
Snippet, yeah, little. What would you call it?
Teaser.
Teaser. That's it. Yeah, I will have my own sneaker, my own actual sneaker.
How nuts, bro. Congrats.
Thanks, bro.
And I'm gonna gas this guy up right now because he's always gassing me up. This thing was designed here in the West. My guy went through multiple different samplers and factories and spent a year talking with different manufacturers and all kinds of people. And he's found this absolute legend in Portugal and has been working really close with him. And the product that they're making is excellent. Like, it's an expensive shoe, and this guy could go and sell this shoe for as much as what his customs are, but he's not going to do that. He's going to release this shoe at a value that people can afford. He's not in it to make hundreds of dollars off every pair of shoe. He's selling it at a very fair price. He's putting a lot of effort into it, and I think everyone should be proud of what this guy's doing. Like, he's showing that roads less traveled are possible out of this area, and
It's nuts, bro.
like
a shoe.
a shoe,
Fuck.
a shoe designed in Western Sydney, manufactured in Portugal,
Yeah.
and ready for anyone in the world out of our shitty little studio in St. Mary's
Yeah.
that we loved so ever
Crazy.
much.
Portugal's a
You
You should be
perfect
proud of
country.
yourself, bro.
Yeah, but like you, bro, he's like, oh.
Yeah,
Just
but
wanna
that's
go
where you
out.
take that step back.
Oh,
be proud
100%.
for 10 seconds
Well, let me
and
tell
then
you
grind
something,
again.
bro. I don't, you know me, I don't get emotional and shit. But when that shoe come, bro, I almost shed a tear
Yeah.
that night.
I was there. It was hectic.
I-
You know what? This
bro.
guy got his first sample, and I was at work, and I said, "Don't you fucking
yeah, I didn't
open it
open
until
it
I
to
get home."
come over.
And this
Oh, yeah,
guy's just
bro.
looking at this parcel all day, probably just like.
I lost my license too, so I couldn't go out. And,
And you had a snapped hamstring, didn't you?
Yeah, I snapped my hammy doing the 75 hard.
So he's at home, miserable,
just looking
just
at it.
looking at this package, and I'm like, "Don't you fucking."
But yeah, bro, it's actually insane to think of it. Like, obviously I couldn't do it without my brother here because
Hey,
he
it
helped
goes
me.
both ways, brother.
Helped me with a lot of the design and whatnot. And he's my biggest critic, and likewise, I guess, when it comes to stuff, we'll come to each other, and that's why we work well together on projects. But yeah, bro, I'm so gassed that this is happening. It's just like what Nickeh was going on about the studio, all the little bits in between. It's insane. Like, fuck, bro, like manufacturing, and then you got to do like, your packaging and logistics and. That's where I'm
Logistics
at.
would be.
That's why
That's what I'm
people
doing
like,
now. It's not
and-
easy, bro.
No, it wouldn't be.
bro. So many people come to me. I used to have an activewear label.
What was it called?
Humble, but spelt like dumbbell. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm punny as fuck. No, it was. You know what? I did that as a test. That was a test project, and I learned a lot from it. But people would like it got a bit of buzz around it. Like, it was doing pretty well, especially in lockdown. It was cranking. But people would come to me and be like, "Bro, I love what you're doing. How do I do that?" And I say, "It's easy, bro. Well, it's not easy, but it's easy to get started. You come up with a name, you do your branding, you start sampling, you figure out what your purpose is, you figure out what your point of difference is. You trial and error different manufacturers, and you're talking to this person and that person." To me, it sounded simple and easy because I'd done it a couple times already. I'd had other clothing brands. I had deals with my merch on YouTube back in the day.
Yeah.
And then people would just be like, "That's too hard." Going off that though, that was like when I used to have this activewear brand back in the day, people would always come to me, and it had a little bit of a buzz around it. And they'd be like, "Oh, how do you do that? Like, how do I got this idea for a brand I want to do." And I'd be like, "Harry, you got to start sampling. You got to come up with a branding guide. You got to figure out what your purpose is, how you're going to be different from others." People just go, "That's too hard, man." I feel like, and hats off to people like yourselves, not everybody's up for it. Doesn't mean that you're better or whatever to other people, but it takes balls to like give something a proper crack.
Yeah.
and you've been giving it a proper crack for a minute now.
I had to change
You've
it.
been
all this
giving it
year,
a
bro.
crack.
It's not easy. I
It's
had to,
not
like,
easy, bro.
change everything I thought and believed and all my suppliers this year.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't really posted.
But even with your pod, bro,
yeah.
like
Fair.
you're giving things a crack, then
Yeah.
that most people, and no disrespect, most people will give it a crack for a little bit and not see that instant gratification, that instant success. Be like, fuck, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You gotta grind, bro. And that's like, I did this shit for a long time before the Russell stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did that Russell stuff a long time before this stuff. Like, it takes time, but it's so worth it.
Yeah. I agree. But I reckon the success is in like the actual gradual improvement.
100%.
That's what I think. Like, I started with you guys and like Marv's. I already knew yous. Oh, fuck, I thought I was bleeding. I started with you guys and Marv. So like, I started with a bunch of people I knew. But when I first started, I had a list as well. I have it. I still have it in my notebook. It's got like Olin Techers and shit like that on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to keep all that
Shout
in.
out Owen. You gotta come to this guy's pod.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on. Yeah, I'm trying to get him on. So, but like John Bernard was on it, Howie was on it, Paul Fleming was on it. Paul Fleming was like 27-0 at the time or something like that. And yeah, just all these people were on it. And it gradually, just like after a while, all these names, Simi at the time was like really big. His podcast was getting like tens of thousands of listens per week.
Yeah, bro.
And he came on mine. That was the only one he did.
Mad.
And like, yeah, I think it's just more success in like the gradual improvement. This itself is a success.
Well, success in the journey. That's what. There's
Yeah,
there's no end goal.
Yeah. And I think the money is what people get worried about because they're,
Bro, if you're thinking about the money, it's never gonna work.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what people always used to say to me, because I'd always just stress about money. Photography and videography is not a cheap thing to get into, and
Yeah.
I'd always be stressing. And even my mum would say this, bro, and they'd be like, "Just keep doing what you love, and the money will come."
Exactly.
And I'd always be like, "Shut up! Like, it's not how it
But
works."
it's facts, man.
But it's facts, bro.
yeah.
100%. You gotta do your 10,000 hours. You gotta practice. You gotta love what you're doing. But that shit comes
I'll tell
eventually.
you something. Like, it happens with me a lot every now and again, especially when you're doing all these different businesses and avenues or whatnot you got going on. As soon as you start thinking about the money, you're never gonna make it.
110%.
Just chip away, like Nickeh
And
was
don't be
saying. Love
attached to it.
Don't be attached, bro.
If someone goes to you, "Oh, I'm gonna like," put it this way: you're dropping a new Helos collection, right? And let's say there's 20 pieces in it, and someone goes to you, "Bro, I'm ordering every piece," and you in the back of your head go, "Fuck, 20 pieces, $50 each. That's 10 grand," and you're like, "No, sorry, that's $8,000. What am I doing? I'm tripping. Mathematics isn't my strong point. That's $8,000, right?" And you're like, just like attached to the fact that
Yeah.
$1,000 is coming. That person's not going to make that order, and then you get bummed out
Yeah.
about it. Whereas if you go, "Oh yeah, that's cool, bro," brush it off,
Forget about it.
forget about it, and then it pops up, you're like, "Oh sweet,
Cool.
happy
Yeah.
days." Like I used to, we spoke about this on ours, but there was this particular brand deal that I was offered 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and when they told me about it, bro, I was like, it was life changing money to me at that
We'll
point
all
in
run
time.
around the house going,
We're like, what?
mad.
Made it.
But this guy straight away said, after our little celebration dance, "Don't be attached to it, bro. Because if it doesn't happen, you're gonna be bummed."
Yeah.
And you know what?
Even with the sorry, bro, keep going.
The brand deal didn't end up happening for a while. They said, "Oh, we're gonna put this on the back burner," and I was so bummed. And then the second time it came around, the same deal, I wasn't attached to it, and it happened, and I was like, sick.
Yeah.
But that was something I'm grateful that you told me, bro. It's just
Oh,
not being
bro, we
attached to
learned so
things.
much.
Not being
Sure.
attached to, if someone says to you, I don't know, what's a Ronaldo? He's
Yeah.
a famous football
Yeah,
player,
yeah.
right? Someone goes to you,
It's pretty famous.
he's pretty
Nickeh.
famous.
Yeah.
Someone goes to you, "Bro, Ronaldo's going to do your podcast."
Yeah.
Don't put all your energy into, "Holy shit, Ronaldo's going to do my
Telling
podcast."
everyone and
Telling people, because then it just jinxes shit. I'm big on that. But if you keep that to yourself and then it happens, you're going to feel so much better.
what I was gonna get to is when it does happen, you still don't like have it like celebrate, but then it's done. Move on to the next one.
time. Yeah.
You don't ever like.
But
yeah, bro,
look
I've done
at
this,
you,
that,"
bro.
Like whatever.
You got to be stoked on how you've done.
Me.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know. I know
bro,
you
I'm-
want a lot more, but
No, yeah, I'm very stoked.
Yeah.
Like, for people that listen, when they hear me talk about Western Sydney, I'm not actually from Western Sydney. I'm from the bush. But when you're growing up in Wimerley, like you're in Penrith more often than you're at home.
That's
well,
west. Bro.
Winmalee is
proper.
still like
It's only like 15 minutes up the mountain, but
Yeah, but okay, 5 years ago, who from Winmalee had a successful clothing brand and a
Yeah.
podcast?
I tell you what,
Those things don't happen.
the only people I know from up the mountains that have done it. So you know Blinky Bill?
Yeah.
That's from Warramoo.
Yeah.
Nudie Juice, he was in Wimbledon as a kid.
Yeah, right.
And Fundamentals from Katoomba.
Yeah, of course.
And Eisenhuth.
Bro, I forgot about that.
Eisenhuth
That
at Storm
band.
with your mate Jordan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he went to my school. That's about it.
Yeah, cool.
And Jess Fox technically as well.
But how cool is that? Like that you can count on one hand.
Yeah, it's nice.
But then
yeah.
it's becoming more popular. Like you got, so many people coming out of the West doing really cool things now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I am very happy with what's happened, Dave. Like it's just time flies. Like before you know it, you've just met all these people. Like I walked into Beach Road at Bondi, I think 2 weeks ago, and Simi was there, and you're like, fuck, all these people asking for photos, and you're like, oh, on my own merit, I held a 2-hour podcast with him.
Yeah.
And he took 2 hours out of his life and drove.
Yeah.
Did he go to?
No, I went to Alexandria,
But
but
still, bro, he took that slot out of his life, and that's hats off to him, bro.
just after he fought Hodges as well, which was a massive thing at the time, if you remember. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
fight
But
night.
that's like, that goes to show that, there are those people out there that are
yeah,
willing to see that next generation come through. They're not gatekeeping their things for themselves. They're happy to put you on.
yeah,
That's sick, bro. And it's like me, like I wouldn't be anywhere where I am today without going back to the start of the conversation. You Cody Donovans and you Royce Kings, and
yeah,
those guys were all way bigger than me at one point in time. And then they, let me collaborate with them, and then I was able to return the favor later on. And
yeah.
it's cool, bro.
It's crazy. I was going to say we'll wrap it up because we have gone a bit over time.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, pardon the pun. I was going to say, I listened to our pods back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to yours first. Fuck, I had no idea what I was doing, eh? Like, I
reading
can't-
off your little paper you had in front of you.
Hold up. I was trying.
No,
Was
I reckon,
Kundo with
bro,
us?
I still thought it was
Yeah,
really
it
good.
was.
Yeah, it was good because of it was good because it was fresh.
Yeah.
And it was like, I put like 3 hours into each of yours.
Even I was excited to do that
Yeah.
because knowing that it's your first one.
And even what I was wearing, but I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Anyway, I went back to yours, and you've both changed my life in one aspect or another. Your one, which completely changed me over the past year, was reading.
Mm-hmm.
So you suggested The Alchemist on that podcast.
Yep.
But from there, like all the other books I've read.
Yep.
But The Alchemist was the biggest one. And
Yep.
I've got to thank you for that because that was like...
Oh, bro, it's all of us. Any book that me and Nickeh, myself and Nickeh recommend is The Alchemist because it's just a journey, bro.
Yeah.
And if you take full notice of what's going on around you and you stick true to yourself and what you love, bro, it's the best journey, and that's the success is in that journey.
I put on my story like a few weeks ago, like this is the best book I've read over the past year.
I saw that.
Bro, I got like 15, 20 replies just being like, yeah, this is like the best book I think I've ever read, and can I borrow it? And for you, well before all this shit, like I still pinch myself, bro, when I walk up to these doors and like see you working and what I used to look at. It's like you were the first person, whilst I don't do it anymore, I used to do it all the time. All my mates will vouch for it. I used to have a YouTube channel, all that shit. You inspired me to pick up a camera, but more so the point of storytelling and how to tell a story, because that's a massive importance to me. Growing up in an Italian household, it's like a really big thing. How you tell a story and what the story means. And I think like you picking up the camera, if you never did that and started uploading on YouTube, I don't know if I ever go down the route I'm in, and I just end up fucking working at Coles for like a managerial job for the rest of my life.
Which would so be fine. But also...
I got 5 for eating at Frankfurt, so like it kind of got taken out of my hands, but still.
Of course you did, Falcon.
Hiding.
No, but how crazy is this, right? And we were talking about this when Tanya was here the other day, like that domino effect, right? So I wouldn't have done any of this shit if it wasn't for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. That game, I was like, I fucking love skateboarding. I'm going to get into skateboarding. Turns out I sucked. But my grandparents had a camera and I'd film my friends skateboarding. And then it was that weird 360 moment when I eventually got to work with him. But then there was other people in school like Lance Russell and Lockie Russell who I looked up to and were like, they were filmmakers. And I was like, holy shit, like I want to be like them.
Lance Russell rings a bell.
He's a freestyle motocross rider.
That's it.
So his brother Lachlan is like one of the most talented filmmakers
Yeah.
that I've ever worked with. But yeah, it's just like this constant domino effect where like they inspired me, and then you're saying that I later inspired you, and Tanner's saying that I had something to do with his shit, and then it's like imagine all the people that Tanner's inspired and all the young kids that you're inspiring, and it's just like this crazy web, bro, and I'm all for it. It's sick. You should be proud of yourself though.
Thanks, bro.
You inspire us, bro.
I don't know. Seeing the young lads have a crack,
Having
that's
a
why
crack.
we do it.
Yeah.
There would be no 2-7 project without the kids like you that we're doing this for.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say kid, you're a fucking grown man.
We're almost 30, so it's just like...
We're allowed to say kid.
Only 7 years my senior, I think. What am I, 23? Yeah.
Yeah, you're a baby.
It's still young. Enjoy it.
But yeah, speaking of the youngins, quickly we'll shout him out before we go. Like when you say like youngins, I always think like J-Mac.
Kundai. I love that little bastard.
I fucking love him too. You know, wait, bro, you know, like him getting a job at Bulldogs, his first ever photography job was like shooting for Helos.
Mm-hmm.
And like, or maybe he did parties, but like his first thing where he's like had creative control. Like Cameron, even with his production.
He's so talented. He needs to believe in himself more.
Needs to release it. We'll go on about that another day. And then like Jason, Chubbs, like just this whole plethora of people.
All these young kids coming through, bro. It's sick.
Yeah, it's fucking exciting.
And they're all having a crack, which is the best.
It's inspiring, bro. Just lights the fire for us every day. Seeing that, it's like, yeah, fucking oath, bro. Good shit.
And if like an hour of our time helping you guys out, you know, inspires you to go do your thing, then
yeah, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Before we jet, rest of the year, what have you got planned?
You go first.
For ourselves individually or as a group?
Individually.
Release my sneaker and become, this year I want to become the first to have his own sneaker out of Western Sydney.
Yeah.
And grow that.
Yeah.
That's the goal, brother.
That's mad. What about you?
Bro, the studio's such a priority for me. Getting this finished.
Yeah.
While trying to grow Pixel Park, which is my production company I started last year. I got Tuesday now.
Yeah. Shout out Tuesday. We promised her a shout out.
She deserves that shout out. She works so hard and she makes so many things at the studio so much easier.
Yeah.
And then it's grow that company, and then just, bro, I'm just winging it.
Yeah.
Like, I got goals in the back of my head and I got goals written down and whatnot, but like, it's just taking one thing on at a time. I burnt myself out, to be honest, last weekend?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bit of a wake up call. So it's like, I need to look after myself more. Don't take on so much.
Yeah, work's not everything.
Yeah, work's not everything. Actually, got to give a shout out to Rod from Drum and Golf.
Oh yeah, big shout out
He's
to
a
Rodney.
legend.
And Nathan.
They're
both
but one piece of advice Rod gave me a couple months ago that just keeps coming back up in my head was, he goes, if your camera broke, what would you do? So I'd go and buy another one or I'd fix it. He said, exactly. So what are you going to do if your body breaks? You only get one. And like, I know that's such a cliche piece of advice, but just hearing it from someone in my circle was like, no, you're right, man. Like I got to look after myself, which is, it's so good having Tuesday, bro, because I got this problem where I can't say no. So having someone to say no for me now is the best.
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess, in long story short, my goals are grow Pixel Park, get the studio running, get some people in here, and then just see what happens next.
Yeah. See where you can get Pixel Park moving to,
Yeah, bro.
especially.
It, like, bro, six months it's been running. I've already done like Apple, Meta.
Big W.
Yeah, that was with Meta.
Yeah.
Collaboration.
Shoe Grab.
Shout out Planet Vegeta. We did Apple together. Shoe Grab. Super cheap auto. Like,
nuts.
it's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Crazy.
Got to pinch myself, but we're only getting started.
Yeah, that's fucking true. It's crazy for me to sit here and like go home and tell my mum about like, oh, these guys like,
Mom,
Mom,
just on podcast.
No.
When's the mum-isode coming out?
She would not in a million years. I reckon Dad would. Dad coached all my junior
What'd she
footy
do
teams.
overtime? And we can talk about
Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah, most probably. She'd
Just
just
talk
bitch
about-
about me.
Yeah, that's what
the
we're
point.
here for.
Mad.
Could just get me on.
Big
Bro,
brothers,
we
mate.
should start
Big
a
brothers
podcast
chat.
where we just interview people's parents.
So tell me,
What do they really like?
That's
that's
actually a
embarrassing.
fucking good idea, and I might cut that out just in case someone steals
Yeah,
it.
that's ours.
Trademark it.
I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
That is a fuck gun idea. Nonetheless, we've got a jet because the boys have got misses.
Yep.
And
We're gonna
they
get
need to get
hidings.
home.
Hidings.
Yeah, they're going to get hidings.
Thanks for having us again, bro.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for hopping on.
Proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep fucking
Yeah.
smashing it.
Thanks, boys. We'll see you next week.
Shay.